He's like, I'm losing my mind.
Losing my mind.
Well, I mean,
He's like, I'm gonna break up with my wife. I was like, okay, go outside and take
a breath.
Take a deep breath.
Take
get
a
some
breath.
air.
This is not the time to end a relation.
I know.
Oh, God. Okay. Oh, hi. You're listening to Service from Hell, a podcast featuring people that are currently in customer service positions or the lucky few that got out and all the good, bad, and infinitely irritating things that go along with that work. I'm actor and writer Kate Gaffney, and I'm uniquely qualified to discuss this as I currently work at a very busy and very popular comedy club in Los Angeles. And actually, I'm changing this intro because that is actually not true at the current moment, because this is a special coronavirus intro episode.
Live from the apocalypse.
And I have Leigh Lamson-Quay with me right now. Still here. We recorded a previous episode that you guys aren't going to hear for a few weeks. Sorry. I also wanted to talk to her because we both work at a comedy club and we have been disproportionately affected by this craziness. And yeah, we don't want to be negative, but it's scary. It's a little scary. So, hi Leigh, thanks for being here.
Thanks. I have nothing else to do. Good talking to you.
Yeah, she keeps emphasizing that when I asked her to be on this. She's like, I mean, I'm not doing anything else, so I guess I'll do it. And I'm like, that hurts, but I won't explain why that hurts. So yeah, a lot of you guys have slid into the DMs and like just been lovely, lovely, lovely humans to me during this time. And I'm sure Leigh, you've had people reach out to you too.
Yeah, people are really, I mean, LA has got a bad reputation and also a sometimes reasonable reputation for having no sense of community. But I do think once you find your community here, it makes it feel a lot smaller and much more loving. And I do feel very taken care of. I've had a lot of people reach out and
yeah, shout out to Sean Polofsky specifically for being absolutely lovely. And I've had people be unbelievable to me during this time. So thank you.
Yeah. Can I segue into saying that I stole all the fruit from the Comedy Store? And I think that the fruit flies, because I was like, I'm going to juice these. I'm going to juice these. And I've had them since Friday. It is now Wednesday. And I need to juice these because I'm batting away fruit flies in my house.
Yeah, we're at Leigh's place. We went mobile with this recording, and yeah, there have been. I'm gonna be honest, there have been a few fruit flies.
What's happening? Oh, I have lots of fruit in my house.
I walked in and there's a box by Leigh's door, and she was like, "Do you need limes?" And I was like, "I mean, I guess I'll take a couple." She's like, "I have a lot."
I'm like, if anybody is worried that scurvy's coming back, we got you.
We good. Mm-hmm. Hit up a server friend of yours whose restaurant got shut down, and they had a plethora of citrus. Mm-hmm. So this episode is a special bonus episode because we, as Leigh has pointed out several times, we ain't got nothing but time.
We ain't got shit to do. It's Wednesday. You ain't got no job. You ain't got shit to do.
Oh, what is that from? I'll die.
From Friday.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought.
That's what I posted last Friday.
Did you really?
Every day. Every day.
Because we in Groundhog Day too. 2 movie references in under 5 minutes. It's very impressive. Oh, and I am recording this time because for the episode that Leigh and I just did, I was not recording for any of it because I have corona brain. So we had to do 2 versions of that recording, which is great. Leigh's a trooper.
It was fun.
Oh, you're lovely.
I got to come up with all different versions of my life. It was really fun.
Okay, so a handful of the questions that I have been asked from people that are amazing and just curious who live in other parts of the country, but also some people that live here, were how has the service industry been affected? So Leigh, do we have a job currently?
No.
And how did we find out?
So originally it started that they were going to go down to, so we have 3 rooms in our club. Mm-hmm. We have a 180 person room. We have essentially a 400 person room, and then like a 90 person room. So they originally said they wanted to limit gatherings to 250 or less, which meant, I think, because my original assumption was, oh, then we can have the belly room and the OR open. But then they were like, no, because it has to be, we can't have all of those people in the same building. Mm-hmm. So then they went down to just the OR. So then we found out on last
Friday morning. Thursday was when we found out it was, because
on Thursday there was a double Joe Rogan show scheduled for the main room, and then they canceled.
He tweeted out. Yeah. He was like, I'm not going to the Comedy Store. And then didn't we get the email after that?
Oh yeah, they let social media know before we knew.
Isn't that crazy? I thought so too.
But I talked to Jen about it, and they were on the fence because I think they were a little worried that if they told us first, then we would leak it. So they wanted
accurate, actually.
Yes. So
you're right, Jen.
I understand. Yeah.
I do too.
So then they let the public know and then tried to let us know as quickly as possible. Dude, I swear to God,
there's so many fruit flies. You guys
came out of
there's
nowhere.
So many fruit flies. They heard we were recording and they're like, showtime.
I'm like, when did this start? I'm like, yeah, come over to my very clean house, Kate.
It's meticulous and there's flies. Okay, so Thursday.
Yeah, so Thursday we found out they were going down to just the original room, which is 3 servers. And then they were like, so anybody who's scheduled anywhere else, you're not working tonight. And then they rescheduled everybody. So they were going to rotate 6 servers through
each night because they were going to do
2 shows. 3 servers per show. One group of 3 worked the first, one group of 3 worked the second. And then essentially the math that I did was we'd all get 2 shifts a week.
Yeah, me too.
And I was praying to God that would be on the low end 300, on the high end 400.
If we were fucking lucky.
If we were lucky. Assuming that because it was the only room, it would be sold out every night and da-da-da-da. So that was Thursday. So then my Thursday math was...
Thursday math
ages
was, ago.
Yeah. Apply for unemployment for decreased hours. Mm-hmm. So you and I did that differently. I applied for full-time to part-time and you applied for part-time to on-call.
Correct.
Yeah. And then, but assuming that we'd still have a little bit and then we get a little supplement, whatever. And then Friday morning, we wake up to an email saying the club is closed because the governor has said no gatherings of larger than 50 people.
It was a recommendation because the state of California was still, I think, riding the line of 150. And then Mayor Garcetti, who's the LA mayor, said actually 50 or more, we're going to lock it down for Los Angeles. But it was recommended. It wasn't mandated.
Right.
So other clubs in the area, I don't know if you saw this on their social media, but they were pillaging and saying we're club in particular, open. We're still open. We're sanitizing. We know you need to laugh during a crisis. So we take our jobs very seriously. I was so mad. I was like, oh no, you guys never sell out. And you want...
Oh no, that's what I'm sure. No. And I honestly though, I think, so we're lucky that our CEO in a time like this, like our CEO, Peter Shore, works for the VA. That's his full-time job.
He does HR for them,
He's a psychologist.
Oh, he is? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. So he has firsthand knowledge and has been getting he's been getting information
prior to us getting it.
And he lives in Seattle.
Yeah. So well, they got hit before we did too. They got hit.
Yeah. So he's been getting it way before anybody else, and he's getting more firsthand information, and we're just, than anyone else is getting. So we've been doing pre-shift meetings about the coronavirus for a week before, and
2 weeks.
2 weeks. We're to the point where I was like, wash your hands, everybody calm the fuck down.
Lee was like in the back of the classroom being like, you guys, this is stupid.
I was outside flirting with the security guard, and Jen's like, can you come inside? We're having a meeting. I was like, another one?
Well, and they had also put up hand sanitizer stations with big white signs with big arrows because people are stupid that said hand sanitizer. And then they also had signs up that were like, hey, do you feel sick? Go home.
Yeah, which is hilarious because I'm like, oh yes, I'm going to not have a fun night out. I'm going to go ahead and be responsible for myself.
Because I have a dry cough.
Yeah, never happened.
And we knew that. So you and I had a different experience. On Wednesday night, Emily, who is lovely, she had a show and I was asking her questions. I was like, do you think that they're going to shut down? Like, what do you think this is going to look like? And that was Wednesday. And she goes, I think what they're going to do is go down to just the original room, just the belly room. I think it should be fine, but we are going to lose the main room because it's just too big. Can't manage it. And in my head, I was like, ooh, that's a hit. Right. So I was like, all right, mentally prepare for that. And she goes, but that's not going to happen likely. And of course, I am in 0% blaming her. None of us knew anything.
Yeah.
But she was like, that's not going to happen until probably next week. And I was like, all right, cool. I can financially try and prepare. Like I'm going to pick up every shift. And then to have woken up to Thursday morning, a member of the staff sent out an email to everyone being like, hey, can you explain this? Because she had seen the social media post.
Yeah.
And I thought, she's an alarmist. What is this? This is fake. No way that they sent this out.
I had just been at the store with Jen and she was finishing up the schedule for the following week.
Who's a manager? She's
the assistant manager and she was finishing up the schedule and she was like, oh my God, I'm so stressed because I had to give so many people so many shifts because we're so busy and da 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 da. She's like, but this is probably going to be the last week that it's like this. So at least everybody will get money. And I was in my head going, thank God I just need one more week.
Yeah.
And then I can
be able to make rent.
And then I can stack cash and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But then if I had one more fucking
just 1 week,
I would have made another $1,200
maybe. And I gave Morgan my last shift because I was trying to be nice because he thought he was going to be out of town and he was like, I need shifts. And I was like, I'll give him my Thursday.
I was like, in my head, I was like, maybe not. And then I was like, no, work it. And then I'm so glad I fucking worked it.
I mean, it's crazy. Like when you think about what we didn't know at the time. So one of the main questions that I'm getting is financially, what are we doing? And I will say, because the store is the way that it is, we hustle, we work our asses off, we make more more money probably than most restaurants, but we are still restaurant/theater employees. So nobody's raking in a gold mine. But because the Comedy Store does what they do and they took care of their employees and said, you know, they're going to take care of the employees for the next 2 weeks, it's better than it could be. But I think that so much of this is a question mark, that I think that's the thing that the people that have reached out to me and have been lovely, they don't know. Well, the sad part is I wish we had more information, but we don't actually know.
Yeah.
So we have been told, what was the day that they said that we're done until?
I mean, they said March 31st. But then I heard, and this is all obviously like hearsay, but I heard that they had told the promoters that they book independently that they weren't allowed to rebook the promoters until April 10th. So then in my mind, I was like, okay.
Plan on that.
Plan on second week of April. But I've always been, I'm good for a month.
Yeah.
But after a month, I'm going to start to stress, and I can pay my bills for 2 months and then I'm at zero.
Yeah.
So
then we in trouble.
Then me and the cats are going to start busking. Make these motherfuckers work for their fucking tiki cat.
For people who have never been to New Orleans, you want to explain what busking is?
It's when you get out and you just do a talent show, whatever your talent is. Where you're the prettiest toe painter you've ever seen.
What would you and the kiddies do? What would be your...
Look, I'm going to teach these motherfuckers to dance or something. Matilda talks. Maybe we can learn a word or two.
That's true. She's a calico. She does talk.
She talks a lot.
Another question that I've gotten is, do we feel scared as far as exposure? And I don't, just because I mean I don't believe all the bullshit of this isn't real and this is a government conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. Go down whatever rabbit hole you want to. I'm not on your train. I do feel like this is a real thing, but I just don't. You and I are not in the demographic of people that may not survive it. So that's not to say, listen, there are people in their 30s that are dying. I'm not trying to discredit the fact that it is serious for everyone. So I don't feel scared. I mean, there are people that we work with that think they've already had it because they were leveled and very, very, very sick about 2 weeks before this all became national news as far as being in the US. So I don't feel scared, but do you feel like you could have caught it or have had it or think you might get it?
I mean, I think that purely based in the kind of industry that you and I work in, the comedy, like I waited on, I was joking to a friend of mine who was like, hey, be careful. And I was like, I'm going to be really careful and really racist and not... But I think racism was the wrong term, but I meant like
cautious.
Not, I mean, I meant to be extreme, but I meant more like towards anyone with a fucking accent. Like, I don't care about your skin color.
Right.
But if you are a tourist.
Yeah. And it's clear.
That you're a tourist, I am going to be like,
I'm going to put your drink over here.
Yeah. I'm going to put this here and then please don't touch me. And then you can grab your drink and then still please don't touch me.
I mean, that's a note in general. Don't touch us
Don't
anyway.
touch me.
But also.
But no, like, because we wait on so many tourists that it's like once it started becoming clear that just purely traveling from Europe, if I don't know if, there's a lot of Australians and a lot of English people, not a lot of like mainland Europeans that come through, but
sure.
Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson had got it in Australia and then they stayed there because they quarantined themselves there. But there's a lot of people from the South Pacific that travel to Australia. And I feel like they might have gotten hit. I don't know do you know the data
the statistics?
for Australia?
I don't totally know.
But which is also why
densely.
Washington State got hit a lot harder though, because of the like people traveling to and from Asia, I think from there, and that's where it started. Even though we know that it's not the Chinese virus.
Jesus Christ! Let's not bring up the president. I can't.
The Kung flu.
I can't. I cannot.
Hashtag Kung flu.
It's gonna make me crazy. I can't.
Dude, first of all, can we talk about, can I just sidetrack to, I don't want to say who, but we all have people in our lives that we love dearly who are just wrong.
Yeah.
In every sense of the word. And one of those people posted yesterday a top and a bottom picture, one of sanctuary cities and the other of the places hardest hit by the virus in the United States.
I did not see this. Okay, and?
Oh, and just, is it a coincidence?
I'll die.
Oh, and I didn't even, I never respond to these things, but I was like, I cannot roll my eyes hard enough at this right now to the point that I don't think I can get them out of the back of my head. But I still love you.
Yep.
And then he responded with so many private messages of like Infowars.com says blah, blah, blah. And
cool,
I wrote
that's
back,
a credible news source.
I was like, If you think that Alex Jones
Knows
is
anything?
ever
Yeah.
gonna get into my space, like no. I'm never.
You got it twisted.
Not clicking on any of this shit. I'm so
No,
sorry.
thank you.
And then the other day he posted we were racist for closing our borders, but now Mexico and Canada are closing theirs and everything's fine. I was like,
because of who we got in charge. Of course they're closing their borders.
but also so is everybody.
So is everybody. Nobody can get around in Europe either. You
No
can't
one
go
is
from
not
France to
closing their-
England.
Everybody's closing their borders.
Everybody is closing their, I can't.
Anyway.
I mean, people are exposing they whole asses in this whole experience. That's a separate.
This is what happens when you put crazy people in front of a computer for like an unknown amount of time and you don't let them go to work. The work is the thing that's keeping them sort of sane.
Give them a task.
Jesus Christ. Somebody fucking give them $1.
Make them busk. Make them do something.
God damn it.
So that was one of the questions that I got. Then I also got the question of, do you believe in the incubation period? If you guys, so technically speaking, like we are told right now, we're going to go back to work April 1st. Although I don't necessarily think that that's true.
I feel like it's going to be May 1st at the very
so do I.
earliest. That's like just I'm planning for that.
Same. So am I. I mean, and this leads to a much larger philosophical conversation that is not what this podcast is. Minimum wage it's impossible to live on one minimum wage job, even if you're working 40 hours a week in the city of LA. And our minimum wage where we work is $13 an hour. And that in other parts of the country, that's a livable wage. That is definitely not. And so tips are our survival. So would our unemployment be factoring in tips? I've been asked that too.
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't think so
Well,
either.
I don't know because so they asked me when I filed my unemployment, and I'll be very transparent. When I filed my unemployment, they asked me, because I said I was going from full-time to part-time, they asked me what I made, because I filed it on Thursday of last week. So they asked me what I made on the days that I had worked since
until that week?
Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday. So I had worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I put in my tips plus my hourly, and they asked for the gross.
Okay.
So I did tips plus hourly every day.
And you happen to have 3 really good
And
days.
I had really great shifts where I made really great tips.
Which
And
is
then-
not a consistent thing. That's the other
no,
thing. Is like
that's the thing. Like
tips
sometimes,
are a gift.
yes, tips are a gift. So sometimes you get stiffed 800 times a day. I just really was like, thank God the last 3 days I've made this much money.
Right.
But it's also like the whole point of me waiting tables is that I don't want the government to know how much money I'm making. So the irony
Our
of
forever
this
issue.
is, and I had to
Do
give
we
you
wanna
the
be
3
honest?
best days of my life in
Ever.
waitressing ever.
Oh, it's the worst.
So, I'll probably be regretting that decision for the rest of my life. But
So we were told in the state of California that the 1 week waiting period that normally happens for unemployment had been waived. And that would have been great. Except the offices had been closed for a couple of those days. I was able to get through on the phone, and other people that called from where we work were not able. They were like, the offices say they're closed. I don't know what happened there, but they've been peppered out throughout these days being closed, because the other thing is you now have people in the entirety of the state filing for unemployment who have literally never filed before in their lives.
yeah, they were saying a percentage today of people that I don't remember what the percentage was, but it's like the percentage of people who've never filed before is
astronomical.
Yeah.
And so now everybody's filing. So they didn't beef up the staff to supplement the number of claims that they're now getting. So it's not an issue of the financial piece. It's the bureaucracy of just going through the paperwork and being like, okay, this person's approved. So anyway, that week waiting period, I can speak for Leon that neither of us have gotten unemployment checks yet. So
I mean, it has been, so as of tomorrow, it will have been 7 days.
same.
But
technically speaking, that week waiting period should have gone away.
No, they should have put it into the system immediately
by Tuesday.
Yeah, or maybe when I did it
Monday.
I did it on Thursday.
Yeah, so you should have
mine
had it on
gone through
Friday.
on Friday.
Yeah.
and then maybe I would get it on Friday. I don't know how quickly.
Roughly, that feels right.
Yeah, so we'll see if I get anything on Friday, and if not, I'm like, oof. But also, the hard part is I have to go and update it because, like I told you earlier, like I filed for reduced hours because at that point we were going down to 2 days a week or 2 shifts a week.
Sure.
And now, quickly after that, and has been a whirlwind since then. So I haven't had a chance to go back and redo it. But it's funny because like you think, what are you doing with your time? You have nothing to do. And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm doing a lot of shit.
I'm so busy.
My life is so busy. I don't even have time to shower, guys. Kate can attest.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna say anything. She
She's
does
sitting
that
across the room from me, and it's not because of the coronavirus.
It's the fruit flies, Lee. Get these limes out of here. So that was one of the questions that I got. And then also, as far as what this looks like financially for most people that are minimum wage workers, God love the people that are minimum wage workers that don't also get tips.
I don't know how they do it.
I don't either. I mean, and I don't know how they do it normally.
No, when I lived in Boston, like California, when I first moved to California, I was like, why is my check so big? Because I used to get void checks.
So would I.
Did you?
Because we got $2.13 an hour in Ohio.
$2.63 an hour in Boston.
So it would void out and you would owe money because of the taxes on the tips that they would claim for you. Yeah, because they were like, oh no, tips about to float yo life.
But Boston tipped so well
that you were okay.
That it set my standard for tipping.
Oh, well.
But then God
love the East Coast.
Oh, God bless them. I mean, dude, I'll take a macho man any day if he's throwing 20s at my head, and I'm not showing him my titties.
If you all are applying like both I'm gonna speak for myself. Yeah, same.
I'm just saying.
Same. But I don't weigh more than you. Let's figure something out.
Exactly. But no, then I moved to California and the tips weren't as good. But then I was like, oh, but my checks are good. So it all sort of evens out in the end. But no, but we make for servers, like we're one of the rare states. I don't know what the percentages of states that charge a server minimum wage, but I know Arizona does. They charge a server minimum wage.
So it's less than minimum wage in general.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, that's why when restaurants in Ohio specifically, when they used to complain to us about labor and be like, you guys have to, we used to have to like roll silverware off the clock. We're hurting, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I know. It's illegal. Listen, Kate now knows better. But like at the time I was like, okay, that feels right. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm part of the team. It's really important to be part of a team.
God, kill me.
Go fuck yourself.
I want my money. Where's my money?
Now I'm like, I'll cut you.
She will. But like at the time you sort of get used to that. And so then coming out here and being like, oh, you're going to pay me minimum wage and not assume that people are going to gift me with their money. Don't get it twisted. We understand that even though tipping is the societal standard, we don't expect it. We want it. We need it. I definitely couldn't live on $200 every 2 weeks. That's not enough. Because
when I did the math on $13 an hour for $40 for 40 hours minus taxes, it was.
Well, we're not getting paid for 40 though. We're getting paid for.
We're getting paid for whatever
20.
Our average is.
Yeah.
So I think that I probably, because I've been picking up a lot of shifts, so I've been working like 5 shifts a week.
Sure.
But still, that's barely 30.
Yeah. But I think for other people in the country who are listening to this who don't know your rent, if you're comfortable saying it.
Oh yeah, I pay $1,650. Around $1,650. It just got raised. Hold on, I'll look at it now.
She's looking at the piece of paper. I can see it too. $1,700.
Yeah, total rent and parking $1,692.47.
Okay, so roughly 17. So I have a roommate, and we pay almost $3,000 for our space, and that is without utilities. And so our rent is definitely not covered by whatever unemployment could offer. Which is, again, I'm not looking a gift horse in the mouth. I'm grateful that the state has what they have and that they're willing to offer it to us. This is not a situation of screw them, this isn't enough money, but it also isn't enough money.
Well, I mean, living in Los Angeles is hard enough. So I've had 2 jobs for 20 years because California is an expensive place to live. And
sure. You've worked simultaneous jobs the entire time you've lived in LA.
Yes.
Is that what I'm understanding?
And whether or not that means like I've worked twice a month at one job and full-time at another job, I've always had to have something else to give me money because I am not the kind of person. And I think a lot of people move to California because they want to like live a different kind of lifestyle. I'm not interested in doing a 9 to 5. It literally gives me panic attacks.
Same.
I
can't
do that. I can't live by that kind of a schedule.
Yeah. It's a lot of
and
your
I
life.
like celebrating. I like eating out. I'm a chef. I like spending money on things that are like entertainment related or food related or things like that. I'm not frivolous. I'm not like shopping at Neiman Marcus every day, but the things I spend my money on are things that I also work in.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like I earn that money and then I give it back to that. But it's like I don't know. LA is a very expensive place to live in. And we definitely pay the price for that in times like this because, but also, I don't know, I feel like it's all on a scale. So in Mississippi, where I'm from, if people are losing their jobs there, they still can't pay their rent there, even if their rent is $500.
Right. I mean, and that's not to minimize anywhere else in the country. Everybody's suffering. This is not to say we're only suffering in LA. No.
But the rent here is
astronomical.
Insane.
It's astronomical.
And I feel like mine for a 1-bedroom being like $1,650 is reasonable. And then when
it's less than the average. No, you're $2,500 for a 1-bedroom in LA is about average right now.
It makes me want to vomit.
Oh yeah, projectile vomit all over everyone forever, always.
So I dream, and this is what I hope for post-corona.
If we live,
we're calling this AC. This is literally the defining moment of our lives.
It is. No, but it is though. But it is.
It is.
Like,
so BC, not before Christ, the new BC.
before Corona.
Yeah. And the new AC.
After Corona.
Yeah. I feel like in 2008, when the economy first went to hell, it took 2 years for rent to drop.
So rent to drop, meaning because I wasn't here then. So like,
when I lived in Silver Lake in a house. In hindsight, here's another hindsight. If you have a fucking sweet deal, you figure out you run,
you'll do anything. Keep it.
sublet it, whatever.
Yep. Hold on to it till you
It's
die.
insane because I had a rent controlled 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath house with a garage, washer and dryer, driveway, and a yard
I'm gonna choke
in
you.
Silver Lake.
I'm gonna choke you. How much?
When we moved out, I think we were paying $2,600 a month.
I am paying more for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath in Los Feliz.
Oh, I lived on a hill,
No, don't
walking
finish. I hate
distance
you.
to the Red Lion and the Cha Cha.
You a bitch.
So this was 2008. So this was
Before it all went
12
down.
years ago.
Okay.
And it was rent control. So then one of my roommates got pregnant, and then the other one,
Kids ruin everything.
well, don't they? And then the other one was in love.
Oh, boy.
And then I was also in love, but he didn't want to move in with me, so I was on my own. So I was like, well, fuck you. But But I didn't have the foresight to say, stay in this place and start subletting those rooms out
Sure.
because I had never done that before and I didn't even think about it.
You also didn't know LA was about to become basically unlivable for the
Oh,
cost.
it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it went down first because when I was moving out in 08, I could not afford a 1-bedroom in anywhere close. So I had to go to Eagle Rock.
Oh, I like Eagle Rock,
Which
but
I
that's
do,
far.
but it
For people that
wasn't
don't
as-
live in LA, it's very far.
It wasn't as fully developed as it is now.
Sure.
So now there's much more of like a culture in the neighborhood. You can walk
Sure.
to places and whatever. Then it was like the beginning of the gentrification of it. But it was a long drive from West Hollywood. It was like a 30-minute drive at 2 a.m. It was just a long drive.
It's too much.
Which I know sounds silly because a lot of people commute and they're like, oh, you're being
No, but
wusses
with
about it.
traffic, that's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it
that's
was
your
just,
whole life.
Yeah,
No.
and getting to work was like twice as long exactly. But
Nope.
so it just took a lot. And I lived in like the first floor apartment underneath and beside the people that lived in the house above me. I was like in the grandma apartment, and they
Okay.
had a 3-year-old toddler.
Nope.
With hardwood floors.
Nope.
Let me tell you. The moment I knew that I needed to move out, but it was the reason I moved there was because it was $950 for a 1-bedroom,
Which is so cheap. Oh, 1-bedroom.
but it was teeny.
I didn't even pay that for a studio ever in my time in LA.
Yeah, but it was the size of
A sneeze.
this room.
Okay, so for those of us, all of the audience that's physically not here with us
400
right now.
square feet?
Yeah, no,
300 square feet?
No, this right here. This is about 200 because
Okay.
I had a studio apartment that was 325.
So
and
let's
it was
say
bigger than
300
this.
because it was like that was the half of this room was the kitchen, half was the living room, and then maybe a little like half of the kitchen was the bedroom. So maybe it was 300 square feet.
Oh, they were trying to make a studio sold as a 1-bedroom.
I mean, it had walls and a door.
but yeah, you can make a 1-bedroom out of 300 square
But
feet.
I was
That's-
sweeping, like they had tiled over dirt in
Nope.
the kitchen. So I was like, I was like sweeping dirt. I'm like, I
am I
believe
doing?
that the ground is coming up through the tiles. I don't really.
Can y'all take a look at this?
So anyway, but that was $950, and I moved out to Eagle Rock because it was $950, and
Sure.
the studios in Silver Lake were $1,050, $1,100 at that point.
Which even now is so cheap.
Oh, that's
I don't,
insane.
Yeah,
you can
that's-
get like an efficiency that's the size of a refrigerator box for
13,
$1,100 or
yeah.
13. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then that was 2008. 2009, end of 2009, all the rents went from 13.
Insane.
1-bedrooms went from like 14 to 1,000.
Well,
So
I'm hoping, man. Please
so
let this be the break.
I moved to the Hollywood Bowl essentially at the
Ooh.
top of Cahuenga, which is like a really
Lovely.
nice area.
Yeah.
In a beautiful vintage apartment that was bigger than the one that we're currently in, which is a pretty big 1-bedroom.
Yeah.
For $1,000 a month.
Girl, fingers crossed. Let that be the relief that happens from
So
this
I
craziness.
feel like that's what's going to happen, but I just think
Listen, the bubble had to burst. Like
it had to
we've
burst.
been in it.
I mean, it sucks that this is what's happening and people
Yes.
are sick. And
Listen,
and
I am not celebrating. Neither of us are celebrating anybody's suffering. We too are in the mix, which is why this podcast is happening. This bonus episode, we're in it too, and it is scary. Listen, the prediction right now is maybe July. I've heard June. You know, nobody
for getting
knows.
back to normalcy.
For getting no, just to even like getting back to work.
Okay.
Our job is dependent upon people flying into Los Angeles and coming to see these amazing comics. You know, people not being scared to socialize. So I think that's been the other part of the questions. So what are you guys going to do? And like, to be frank, to answer for myself, I don't know. I don't know. And people have been lovely, and there has been the people I haven't heard from in years are reaching out and being unbelievable to us. But I just think there's a certain amount of I don't know that we have to be okay with, because otherwise we're going to go crazy.
I do think that there's like, you were asking before, I'm like, am I scared of this? And I think that I have a healthy level of complete disconnection.
Same. No, I feel the same way. That's so real. I feel the same way.
But it's what your brain does to cope with stuff. And
this is trauma.
Oh, yeah, this is called trauma. Been through it before, never quite in this way.
Not my first walk through this road, yeah.
But I was thinking I was going through it currently, and now we're in a whole nother level.
We deeper. We're just going deeper.
I'm like, oh, great. No, I'm fine. Everything's great. No,
everything
really, I'm fine. Yeah. Like I posted a picture on my Instagram of The Shining when they're driving to the hotel.
I saw that. You were like, now mood.
No, it was like, we're great. We're lovely. Having a great time. And it's fucking Jack Nicholson.
About to murder both of them.
Yeah. Red rum all day. But it's just, but I've had so many friends who work in the service industry and in comedy.
Yeah.
And like, cause comics don't have anything to do either. Like everybody, entertainment in general,
suffering.
Hospitality and entertainment are the ones that are getting hit the hardest by this.
Which in LA, like as far as who floats this city, those are your two biggest industries.
Which is why I really, really hope that they're going to do us a solid and say, hey, we know that you are the reason that this city is able to be as successful as it is. Because without tourism, hospitality, entertainment,
who's coming here? Why would you come
without
here?
Hospitality, entertainment, there would be no tourism, is I guess what I was saying. So like, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Please tell them to stop charging us rent for 2 months. If you're giving people a relief on their mortgages, then
give us a relief on
down at least for 2 months.
I agree. So please elaborate on that. Something Leigh and I were talking about before we started recording was, so I am about to have to send an email to the building managers who in LA, a lot of people bought up property ages ago because, they knew LA was going to be a big, LA's been always a big city since the gold rush, and entertainment has been here forever. I'm not discrediting what we already know about history, but a lot of properties were just purchased that were in not necessarily great parts of Los Angeles. And they were thinking about the future and gentrification and like the aspirational hope that they would eventually become good neighborhoods. And that's true.
It's happened. I mean, Silver Lake, Echo Park, Los Feliz,
East Hollywood, where we currently are.
Like East Hollywood is sort of the last on the east side gentrification.
But it's happening here.
But I mean, this is definitely in the middle of gentrification. But like Los Feliz in the 90s
was dangerous.
So
was West Hollywood.
Yeah.
If you wanted to go, they were not great parts of town.
No, and that's when people were buying. I mean, I wish I had the foresight. I mean, never ever have I ever had enough money to buy a building.
Foresight and rich parents.
But like, fuck, if I had a grandmother that was sitting on a California Craftsman on Franklin right now,
you'd be a multimillionaire if you sold it. I mean, it's crazy. So something we were talking about is, even though we have to deal with management companies who are usually almost always not the actual owners of the properties, if the bank is going to forgive them for the mortgage for the month, they need to tell us.
But have they done that?
I don't honestly know what has or hasn't definitively happened. I know they were talking about forgiving mortgages for commercial properties.
Yes, I heard that for commercial properties. But then if we ask them, do they have to answer, or can they defer that and just say, I'm not at liberty to discuss the whatever?
Listen, to all the lawyer friends of mine that happen to have, who've passed the bar in California, please slide into those DMs. I don't know. I did some research last night because I was going to email the management company of my property just to be like, what are you doing and what's going on? Because they've had plenty of time to post notices to our door of, hey, stop hanging out in the courtyard, stay 10 feet from people, wash your hands. Bullshit that they
haven't done
anything
know. At my place. They haven't posted anything.
You mean they haven't assumed you don't know common sense? My building's just like, y'all don't have common sense. We're about to double down.
They did post that in your building. Oh, that's hilarious.
It's like, bitch, I already know to wash my fucking hands. Like, leave me alone. But they haven't mentioned anything about the financial piece. And so I can't craft this email until I actually know. So I was doing some research on who owns the building. And it's all this like secretive stuff. They aren't the lien holders, but maybe that's the bank, but maybe the owner. It's all Greek to me. So I don't know. So anybody listening, if you have any insight into that, please let us know.
Well, because we need to, it's just like, when you're thinking about paying paying your bills, you're like, what do I need? We were talking about this before. Like, what do I absolutely need to pay? And if I can't afford to pay everything,
what are the priorities?
So credit cards are first because they're private.
Yep.
And no one gives a fuck about you at
And
the credit card
they
company.
certainly don't. They're happy to have this time right now.
And then,
Utilities,
the rest, I know that they said they're giving a moratorium. They're not doing any evictions and they're not doing.
But that doesn't mean they can't charge us the fees. That's
I'm like,
the thing.
These people charge late. I have been late on my rent one
By
time.
a day?
And it was because my bank held my check unnecessarily and then bounced my rent. My bank wrote me a letter saying that they were at fault and they still wouldn't reverse the
You
fee.
have got to be kidding me.
Wouldn't reverse it.
So the building still fucked you on that.
Oh yeah, and I called the guy.
Leigh loves to get in people's asses. That's what she do.
I'm a crazy white girl. I love to preface
Same, girl.
every complaint with being like, "Hey, guess what? I'm the craziest white bitch you're ever gonna meet, and I'm
you're
about
gonna be
to
real sad. I'm about to ruin your
use
life."
it." Yeah. So, because I kept getting stuck in my garage because the door wouldn't open.
I remember you telling me this.
And I kept being late for my day job at the time because I couldn't get the fuck out of my garage. So they had supposedly fixed it and whatever, and then they had just charged me a late fee. And then I couldn't get out of my garage. And I called the management company and I lit them up.
You were like, I will be in your ass from now until forever.
I was like, I am going to scream at everybody on the phone and the building managers until you guys fix. I was like, you're seriously charging me a late fee? I have never been late on my rent. Anyway, point is, no one gives a fuck about anything. Yeah, no, they still fucking, it was already done. But then I was like, I'm going to make your life a living hell.
You're about to regret this decision for the rest of
the
time.
pettiest bitch you've ever met.
Same. I'm so petty. If I can make your life painful because you hurt me, it's about over.
Hammock, our mutual friend, Punky,
who's been on the podcast,
called me, like, she's named me Petty Wop.
She really?
Well, we all made petty.
Punky's petty as shit too.
Oh no, we all have
nicknames.
We all have petty names.
Okay, so that's something I've been asked. Have you been asked anything by anyone curious about the service industry? I think the outreach that I've gotten has just mostly been they know we're out of work and they're concerned about our financial situation.
I honestly, like, a couple people have reached out and just been like, "Are you okay? Do you need anything?" But some of them have been like chefs that I work with.
So they're out of work too.
Yeah, everybody in the hospitality business is just screwed. Like, I know Marriott because I worked for a Marriott hotel for a long time, and they just got furloughed today. Like, at the end of today, whoever is done after today is like, no one's working again.
So what does that mean, like, as far as if the industry comes back, does that mean that they might be hired back?
I think furloughed means that you get your job back, but it doesn't mean you're getting paid. But I don't know that.
Can they file for unemployment then?
They can file for unemployment because I think they're technically unemployed, and then they can use all their PTO and vacation hours, but they can't.
Oh, that's lucky
they're not,
for them.
But they're not getting paid time off after that.
So
like, they're not accruing.
They're
not accruing any paid time off based on the hours that they're working, and they're not getting paid for any of the time they're not working.
I mean, it's a crazy thing to think about for people that don't work in like customer service, but specifically hospitality. I think we just I'll speak for myself. I have taken it for granted that that's just always going to be here. And I forget that it is definitely a luxury and a privilege to be able to go to a theater or even a movie theater or, stay at a hotel or travel or any of the things that we just assume everybody gets to do unless you're severely impoverished. We forget that so much of our industry is built on the shoulders of people who are willing to take whatever excess money they have
and give it to us. Yeah. And another thing, because I'm 41 and I feel like I thought I was being a good adult.
You were adulting well.
And then now I'm in this and I'm like, no, I make enough money. I was making enough money that I should have way more money saved.
Yeah.
So I definitely, one thing that things like this do is give you a lot of time to sit and think.
Too much time.
And I think that I've learned a lesson in that, like, I'm not going to be as frivolous with my money. Like, I spend so much money on nonsense. I just remember last week spending $30 on a coffee and a tuna melt.
No, you did not.
At
Where?
Stamp.
Girl, that place is so expensive. What are you doing?
But I never go there.
From my house, and I don't touch it.
There. And then I went in and I was like, I'll just go here. I know it's expensive. But then I walked out and I was like, you just spent $29.
That's crazy.
You're dumb.
Especially because we work in the service industry. We tip our asses off.
But
so
it's like pointless because I'm like, it wasn't even that good. And I'm
their
like,
food's okay.
What
Just
is the
okay.
deal?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
What is the deal with
What's the deal with Stamp Proper Foods?
Lee's become Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
I will say there is so much positive and good that is coming out of this. I mean, I'm scared. I'm not in a place where I'm like, hell yeah, we got this. Paid vacation. No. I've said for a long time, I've wanted a bunch of time to be able to do creative things like this podcast and other things, other projects that I've had sitting on the back burner. I simply don't have time because of my survival job. Now that the survival job is completely gone, it's like, ooh, but I don't know that I want this much time.
Well, here's what happened. And I was just like thinking back to 2010 again, or 2009. So what happened was, it wasn't just that the people that lived here that came from other places decided it was not worth staying.
Sure, they left.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I think that's going to happen this time also.
I do too.
There's a lot of people that are going to go home and never come back. So the renters market, or the owners market, or whatever, what do we call this?
Buyer's market, or what?
Is it it's a buyer's?
Well, what is it you're describing?
The fact that the landlords can charge a shitload of money for rent right now
is going to go under. Oh, this will become a renter's market.
It's going to become a renter's market.
It's an owner's market right now.
The demand is going to be less.
Correct.
And no one's going to have any money. So they have to lower, like property value is going to go down because there's no one is, there's going to be so many bankruptcies. And once small businesses go under, they usually don't come back. Unfortunately.
Well, I mean, you can't financially, it's impossible.
Yeah. So there's going to be unfortunately, so many small businesses are going to go under.
Which means a lot of storefronts on these major thoroughfares are going to be empty.
Yeah. Because right now, I mean, it was at a point where I was like, what are you selling? How do you have the money to pay rent in this neighborhood for the nonsense that you're selling?
Well, you knew most of them were fronts for things. I mean, most of the stores on Melrose, you're like, this ain't clothes.
No, but Los Feliz though.
Oh, girl.
The highest rent in the city, you're just looking at these places and I'm like, this isn't,
you're a cigar shop and you're staying open. How?
What
for that many square feet? What are you doing?
No, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you ain't just selling cigars.
Yeah. So but I think that a lot of those people are going to go out of business, and a lot of people are going to move back to their hometowns that moved out here to be actors, and they worked in the hospitality industry, and they're like, well, fuck this. I'm going to go let my mom take care of me during this time or whatever. And the city's going to sort of empty out, which is what it did in 2009, 2010. It's going to feel empty for a minute, and then it's going to get really full again. It's going to take about 10 years, and then we'll be back to where we are again. And I'm grateful sort of that I've felt like what this feels like before. It was never in this way.
But you felt this fear.
I never felt the fear because I never lost a job.
Oh, so you still worked during all of it?
Yes, I was working through all of it. It was slower, but I still had my job.
So this is unprecedented in that way.
Yeah. Like I had to stop spending as much, but I could afford my rent and my bills and stuff like that. But maybe I canoned my cable or something.
Sure. Luxuries.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
But so you feel this is unprecedented in that way where you're like, well, shit, now I don't have a job. Well, you have your business that she's a pastry chef. So you have that going on.
Please buy my pastries. Please, God.
They're really good. What about other cities though? Like, I mean, obviously we can't necessarily speak to where they are right now. Do you feel like cities that are not New York, Miami, or LA, because Seattle doesn't necessarily have a huge export of people, but they're pretty hospitality heavy. So I wonder what cities where people are not going to leave, do you think that they would have some sort of break in the rent or something like financially?
Washington is giving everybody a break in the rent.
Oh, weird. They're actually helping their citizens?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? What are they doing?
Yeah, relief on all utilities and all rent.
Oh, weird. Yeah. So they actually want their people to stay there.
Yeah. But this place is such a transient place that I think that
it's also too densely populated.
Yeah.
They need people to leave LA, to be frank. The hospitality industry needs people that are pursuing art or pursuing something else like you and I both are, so that they can have us that are educated and competent and good at our job do the job that we're doing that we necessarily are overqualified for. That's not to say that hospitality is not difficult or doesn't require intelligence. It does, but a city like LA thrives on people like you and me that have something else that we are pursuing, so that we need this hospitality industry to pay our rent and our bills whilst we do something else. So I'm just curious, especially because entertainment is taking a hit right now. Did entertainment take a hit in 2008 or 2009? Do you remember shows shutting down production?
No, because it wasn't. This is different in that it's a public health crisis.
Sure.
So yeah, things were slower and there wasn't as much opportunity, I think, to find jobs in those places, but the people that had jobs weren't at risk of losing their jobs necessarily. I mean, maybe a little bit if it came down to like the more frivolous kinds of entertainment things. But I think reality TV probably shut down. Or I don't even know, maybe reality TV was like the highest, but they don't pay shit anyway. So, but
facts.
But like, I don't know, just like the extras probably went away in the entertainment business. And I don't know what that means necessarily, but I think that people who had jobs didn't have to worry about losing their jobs as much. I mean, I think everybody lost a little bit in the recession, but here we're talking about things being shut down and no one, I think everybody is currently making salaries if they're on salary and working from home. But if you don't have an audience, I think online content is one thing, but you can't make the same amount of money if you're not in a studio producing a show and putting it out with an audience every day.
Sure.
Which is what a lot of these people make their money on.
Yeah.
So if you can't have those things, like there's only so much you can do without a live audience. If your whole thing is about performing in front of a live audience, whether it be live stand-up or Jimmy Fallon or David Spade or
John
whatever.
Oliver,
I think there's a lot of people scrambling to rethink
the model.
I
mean, I think it will break things wide open. It's just a matter of, with hospitality, when we were doing the paycheck to paycheck thing anyway, unless the bills and all the things that people have brought up are deferred, when will we ever be able to make back what was lost during this time? And I don't have a good answer for that.
I don't think we'll make it back.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think that this is just, we'll have to take a loss. But I do think, just on the grander scheme of things, like the world was sort of spinning out of control a little bit, in my opinion. And I think people are becoming more disconnected. And I don't want to get too crazy philosophical or whatever, but it's just
part of this.
But I do think that, science-based stuff is that this whole thing started because our world as humans is encroaching too much on wild animals, and there's not enough space for the wild to be wild and for civilized worlds to live in that way. But so we're so greedy, we have to take over every single space. Now, because of that, we're paying for it by getting these diseases that we wouldn't have gotten from them had we not lived in such close proximity to them. So, there's a reason coyotes run up and down the street in Los Feliz every night.
I literally saw one last night when I was walking around.
Because
they've got nowhere to go.
They lived in a park that has been developed around.
Yeah.
To the point that there's nothing left for them to eat in their natural habitat, so they have to come down and eat my cats.
You guys are going to be okay.
I moved far enough away from the park that they don't come down this far, but
well, you got all these fucking limes and fruit flies. You could feed them that, Leigh.
I can just throw limes at their head for fun.
The thing with customer service is that it's sort of this weird contrarian relationship where we get treated a certain way just to tolerate it, especially in a hospitality industry that accepts tips or that we survive on tips. We tolerate a certain amount of poor treatment because we're like, well, shit, you're about to pay my rent. But as rents decrease, I'd like to feel that we're going to tolerate less of the shitty behavior and be
maybe
I need less of your shekels. So I'm all set. But I don't know, is there anything else you've been asked or anything else you've thought of during this time in relation to customer service?
I think that maybe what I'm hoping that comes out of this is that people are so isolated that they recognize how important community is. And so I'm hoping that when people are finally out and about again, they're just nicer to each other.
I agree.
And I hope that transfers to customer service industry. Not that we're shit on all the time. I do have lovely customers as much as I have shitty customers. But
the irony notwithstanding that the last shift that I worked before all of this went to hell, I had a woman pin me up against the wall and be like, I didn't drink this. This isn't, yeah, you were working that night actually.
Yeah.
And be like, this is wrong. Fix it now. And threw the receipt at my face. And literally at the time I was like, I need a break. I need a vacation. I literally I wasn't even yelling back. I was like,
you're just
I'm gonna get a manager. I feel nothing.
But also imagine whoever was with her husband or boyfriend
he was
is
mortified.
Now quarantined with her.
Karma's a bitch, yo.
A bitch.
You chose the wrong partner. So, because he ended up tipping me well and he was mortified.
I'm sure.
And he was just like, yeah, no, it's fine. I'm sorry. It's fine. It's fine. Oh boy, we make our choices, don't we?
Yep.
I didn't even think about that. Mm-hmm. If you guys have any other questions or anything, obviously this is a special bonus episode, but feel free to slide into my emails, servicefromhellpodcast@gmail.com. If you have any questions for Leigh, she's going to be on a later episode that won't air for a little while, but thank you, Leigh, for being willing to do this and talking through this.
Order my pastries at Abington Ave Pastry on Instagram.
At Abington Ave Pastry.
Abington Ave Pastry.
Yeah, she can come to you. She can deliver. She also has insurance, so her little cottage kitchen is clean. And we're joking about the fruit flies. They ain't in the kitchen. We ain't in the kitchen. It's
I'm literally about to juice these fruits.
Yeah, she gonna juice them fruits so that she can throw the corpses at the coyote heads.
Exactly.
Thanks, guys, for listening. If you have any other questions, let us know. And this is a special bonus episode about the coronavirus because we just got so many questions and wanted to try and answer them about the hospitality industry. I mean, there's nothing really else I can think of to say, but here's what I will say. When we do finally come back, and because this isn't just affecting LA, this is affecting a lot of major cities and a lot of states. If you had the luxury of being paid during this time and your business did a good job of taking care of you, if and when you do choose to go back out to dinner or go out to a theater or go out to a bar or go out anywhere where tipping is customary, just think about doing more than you normally would. I mean, I'm not going to suggest exactly how much that should be 100%, but like, hey, you know, whatever you can give a little extra just to shine a light on the fact that a lot of us were fully out of work during this time. Obviously, that's appreciated. And to the friends and family that have reached out to me directly and just been like, what can we do? And who have, you know, just Venmo'd me out of nowhere. Like, I just can't even tell you how grateful I am and how grateful we are for people like you guys in our lives, and the number of comics that have reached out to just be like, are you okay? I know you're not getting tips during this time. Like, are you going to be able to survive? I can't even tell you what that means and how impactful. The good is rising out of this situation too. And I'm super grateful and super blessed. So yeah, I mean, that's it. That's all I got to say. Leigh, you got anything else?
No, I think you said it all.
Yeah.
I think it's good stuff. And I really do look forward to coming back to a place that is more in touch with the community.
Yeah. And each other and kindness.
And I feel like maybe we needed a wake up call for that.
Not maybe. We definitely did.
Yeah. I mean, social media has been pulling us apart for a really long time. So as much as we're going to be in our phones right now, I think that the isolation is going to be really hard, and it's going to make us really appreciate each other when we get to see each other again. So, I mean, I know that you and I are in front of each other now, but like we have a small group of people that we sort of trust that haven't been out gallivanting.
And it's a small group, y'all. Yeah. It is not a lot of people.
You would be surprised.
Oh my God. I can't even. I'm going to go off. But yeah, we have a small group of people. Yeah.
But no, I'm excited to get back into the world and hope that people have seen the light a little bit.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. If you have any other questions, reach out to us here. You got our socials, you got the email. Thanks, Leigh, for your time. We this multiple episodes today. You're a trooper.
It's been fun.
Yeah, you got your kitties on an episode too.
My cats have been causing such a ruckus.
But they've been good though. All right, y'all, have a good night. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.